Hi, I'm Jami Shapiro, and welcome to Grandma Has ADHD. I'm a certified senior move manager and owner of Silver Linings Transitions, where I help people navigate life's big transitions. But here's the thing, I spent years helping families move through change while completely missing the pattern that was running through my own life. I am the daughter of two ADHD parents, the mother of three ADHD children, and yep, I have ADHD too. For years, I didn't have the language or understanding for what that meant. But becoming an ADHD coach and specialist, that's been absolutely game changing. Not just for how I work with my clients, but for how I relate to my family and honestly, for how I understand myself. I even wrote a book about it called This Explains So Much. This podcast is for all of us who are discovering ADHD later in life. Each week, I bring you conversations with industry experts and people sharing their own ADHD journeys, real stories, real strategies, and often a little too much information. If you're loving what you're hearing, please share this podcast, leave us a review, and find me at jamishapiro.me. That's JamiShapiro.me. Whether you're over 50 and just getting diagnosed, or you're recognizing patterns you've lived with your whole life, this is your space to navigate ADHD with others who get it. So grab your coffee and get comfortable and let's dive in.
Quick update before we dive in. You've heard me talk about the Sparkler Society. It turns out running a full membership community was more than I could actually sustain right now. And if I'm going to teach you not to overload yourself, I'd better practice it too. So I scaled it back to Sparkler Circle, one live group coaching call a month, same spirit, way less overwhelm. If you want to learn more with no commitment, just grab a seat at jamishapiro.me. That's JamiShapiro.me. Back to the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Grandma Has ADHD podcast. I am so excited about today's guest, especially because studies consistently show that public speaking is one of the greatest fears people face, sometimes ranking even above the fear of death. And today's guest has dedicated her career to changing that. Dr. Reesa Woolf's story begins with her family's history as immigrants, and that foundation of resilience and determination shaped everything that came after. For the past 2 decades, she has mentored C-suite leaders, executives, and business owners, helping them become more influential and inspiring communicators. I have to say, as an aside, because I do have ADHD, it's a little intimidating just to read the bio in front of you, but I'm going to keep going. She has a gift for demystifying the fear of public speaking, and she has helped hundreds of professionals, including a whole lot of fellow introverts, discover that they are far more compelling than they ever imagined. She also specializes in helping technical experts cut to the chase, supporting sales professionals in closing more deals, and working with ESL professionals. I believe that's English as a second language professionals. Yes. To sharpen their communication skills. And she has put it all into a step-by-step guide called Mr. Bear Speaks Without Fear. Pause. But here is where it gets really fun. This woman has lived. She's had conversations with George Lucas before Star Wars. She was an extra in Barry Levinson's film Diner. She taught public speaking at the United Nations in Rome and spent 3 months having lunch every single day in the former headquarters of Benito Mussolini. She knew Hunter S. Thompson. She studied mindfulness from Ram Dass after he published Be Here Now. She has traveled to Bulgaria and Yugoslavia in pursuit of ethnic dance, and she has personally seen 53 of the world's known Fabergé eggs. And somehow, she has checked off everything on her bucket list and achieved what she calls her lifelong goal of self-actualization. So I'm just in awe of that for a moment. I'm just going to stand and pause. And that was one of the reasons that I was so excited to have you on. Oh, and did I mention she is a self-described introvert? And I'm sure she's going to have some other things to share. But another reason, not that there weren't many wonderful reasons to have her on as well, is that I met Dr. Reesa Woolf at the Neurodiversion Conference in 2026, and she is one of our people. Welcome. Should I call you Reesa, Dr. Wolf, Dr. Reesa? What do you prefer?
Please call me Reesa. And I want to first tell everyone how I got to do all those cool things. And the
Please.
reason I got to do all those cool things is that my priority in life was to do my bucket list. Working, making money was secondary to doing my bucket list. When I was in my first year of college, I took my first psychology course and they talked about self-actualization. And I went, I think I'll do that. And pretty much everything after that was a decision based on, does this fit who I am and what I want to do. So I never cared much about money. And I just took work that was the least offensive, that would hurt my primary desire the least, which is doing whatever I wanted. So that's how I did all those cool things. And then also I just often was in the right place at the right time, but I always said yes to everything. Like that film, when I saw that film, I went, oh, that's how I've lived. I've just said yes to every opportunity, and pretty much legal, illegal. It's been real fun.
I love it. Wow. I mean, first of all, I just want to know, first of all, how did you come up with your bucket list? I don't even know my bucket list, and I'm 56.
If before you die, what are things that you really want to do?
Oh, okay. I mean, I know what a bucket list is. I'm just saying, like, how
No,
did you?
I'm asking you
Oh,
now. Tell
you're
me two things.
okay.
Like, where are two places that you really want to visit that you don't that you've known for a long time? Oh, I'd really like to go there. What's two?
Okay, I want to go to Greece
Okay,
and I want to go to Croatia
okay, excellent. That's how you do it. You just say, all right, what are things that I've been thinking about
and
for a long time?
Vienna. And I mean, like, I could get in southern
Oh, there you
Italy.
go.
Yeah, yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. Yeah,
No, right.
I had a goal to travel the world with someone else paying, and
Oh,
I've pulled that off. Yeah.
I'd like
So
that, please.
so my whole point is to look at what you want, and so whoever's listening, often we're in the same position. We've been doing what we should do, and then we have kids and we're doing their goals and stuff. And I say, go off by yourself and go, you know what? If I were to die, if I had a notice that in 1 year I'm going to die, what are things that I've been wanting to do that I want to make sure I do? And then you just sit quietly and let those ideas come and just write everything down. You can order them later, don't edit right away. And then just go, yeah, okay, well, if I only could do three, what are the top three? So, whatever the top three are, put them on your calendar, and then it happens.
Nice. So, as I shared with everybody, we met at the neurodiversion conference, and I have to tell you that when I have used the parameter 45 and over when I approach somebody about the podcast. And so if they have gray hair, I tend to be like, I think it's safe to go in. I'm not going to offend anybody. But I did meet you there, and you were so warm and wonderful and already giving me speaking advice. But I want to share your ADHD story if I can, because you're definitely fit my demographic, which is a woman over 45. I'm going to assume late life diagnosis because we didn't recognize ADHD when we were
Yeah.
growing up. So share your ADHD journey with me.
Well, ADHD kind of was noticed, what, 20, 30 years ago? So I had lived a whole bunch before then, just thinking I was stupid
Huh.
because the kids, when I was growing up, these other kids got A's. Now, my last name was always Wolf. So because I went to such a progressive school system, public school, I always sat in the last row, the last seat, unless there was someone with a Z name. And
Mhm.
so I just sat in the back and we just laughed all the time. I just laughed my way through school and we passed notes. That's all I did all the time. And I knew the other kids got A's. So, and I knew I was horrific in math. Couldn't, when the woman spoke, it was like another language or something. So I
I
flunked
can
math,
relate.
couldn't get my driver's license because I flunked math, all that stuff. So, and when I was 25, something happened and I went, wait a second, I'm smart. Well, that's a long time to live thinking you're dumb. So that's my first aha was, wait a
Mhm.
second, I am smart. Didn't know anything else. And then when I was about 50 or 55, something happened. I met someone who said, well, let me give you this little test. And it turns out that I have a touch of dyslexia, which I know my brother has massive dyslexia. So I was never held back by dyslexia, but I have such dyscalculia, which is dyslexia with numbers, that this, I mean, like everyone was no, 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 or yes, yes, whichever answer. And she said, she looked at me seriously and she says, I can't believe you've done as well as you have. And I think it's because I'm just a persistent kind of person. But still, in all, I can't play backgammon. If even making change in the stores just intimidates me, I have no idea about, did that happen 5 years ago? Or I have, so everything in that department doesn't work. It's empty.
Mhm.
And I have only recently said, well, it's empty because all of that brain power went to being creative because I'm quite creative. So, and then, so I knew I had this dyscalculia. So that helped me to just forgive myself for a bunch of stuff. Because as I would go, oh, you did the, I'll say, wait a second. Because I'm very much listening to who's talking in my head, my inner wisdom or my wacko voice that likes to beat me up. And I
Mhm.
went, oh, wait a second. That's not true. That's just because my brain doesn't have that. And then because I have clients, I teach executives and top level people how to stop their public speaking fear. And because so many of them, like the third or fourth session would say, oh, by the way, I have ADHD. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. And someone said, hey, do you want to go to this ADHD conference, the one we met? And I went, sure, it'd be good for them. And when they gave the list of here are the qualities of ADHD people, I went, I'm every one of those. And that was a massive breakthrough. And that was like a year ago. So oh my.
Wow.
So the like for the 2 days after that conference, I caught myself going, and I went, no, no, that's the ADHD, like 8 times a day in that first day. And I went, look how much I've been beating myself up undeserved. So I forgave myself. And so I've been a lot more at peace since I realized that is just something that's part of my brain as opposed to, well, I can't do that. I'm not good at that, all the other things. So I would say that I'm relieved and delighted to know. But the interesting thing is, whenever I write for my brain, so this whole book is not in paragraph form, it's in the first sentence of the paragraph, everything else is bullets. So I wrote all my stuff for ADHD people because that's how I like to see things. I don't like, don't give me like a 4 sentence introduction, just get to the point, give me the bullets. And so, anyway, so that's something that's important.
I love that. So I have a couple things to comment. One of the
Please.
things is when I send a text message like to my team or someone that I'm communicating with, I immediately want to go just to like, tell me about this. Like not, hello, did you have a good weekend? I have to go back and write that in. Speaking of just like get to the point, I do want to mention that your book is called Speaks, oh, is it Bear Speaks Without Fear? Because
It's Mr. Bear. So it's first of all, it's Mr. Bear, but he speaks without fear.
okay.
And I'll tell you something. I sent it even to my sister-in-law, who really is not in any part of our world. And when I said, "What did you think of the book?" and she said, "Well, it taught me how to really do public speaking." So I mean, it's 30 years of my experience teaching people, teaching high level people, teaching introverts and extroverts, teaching all kinds of people. It's in one place. So it's really quite the gem.
Okay, so I have a couple things to ask you. I definitely want to go back to the late life diagnosis, so don't let me forget because you know how we do that,
No
right?
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you, and I love public speaking, and I can remember being in sixth grade, being the student asked to give the speech to all the parents at the open house. So obviously they knew then, and I get excited about it. It's like it's my favorite thing to do is to talk to other people, like hear myself talk. But tell me where that fear comes from, because I can't relate to it at all.
Okay, so public speaking fear usually comes from an early incident where someone was mean and nasty, often a school teacher, to a kid. So, for example, I go to a lot of seminars and conferences, and I was at this weekend, and this woman, when I told her what I did for work, she says, I do the same thing that you do. I'm a fourth grade teacher. I have the kids get up and give a speech. And if they're not good, I go, oh, that was terrible. Sit down. And I thought, this is the bitch that makes people come to me when they're 35 years old and say, oh, what happened in fourth grade? So, one, this woman should not be around children. But two, here's what happens is people start second guessing, am I coming across? How am I doing? Where public speaking, if you shift it from how am I doing to how can I help these people, which is why you love it. You love to help people. I love to help people.
Mhm.
And if you shift your view to I'm only here to help them, and some people will like it and some people won't.
Well, that's where that rejection sensitivity with ADHD comes in because I have to please everybody. If anybody, and I've had this happen where I do a presentation and I get the feedback and it's like 10 overwhelmingly positive and one person is negative, or I don't know why she talked about ADHD when I was doing a downsizing presentation, then I will ruminate on that negativity. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing
yeah,
that
that's a
takes.
mistake.
I
Okay, so
know.
here's why. In every group of 100 people, have you noticed that there are always some people who get you right away? Like
Yes.
maybe the top 10 or
Like
20%.
us, we get each other.
Like in 1 second, we went, oh, okay. And then have you ever noticed in every group, there's a bunch of losers who are like, like afraid of, they're just dumb or they're stupid or they are mean or they're just wacko. Have you ever noticed in every group, there's a bunch of wacko or stupid or people who, like, I call them the lower 20%.
Okay. I guess I've noticed that. I'm not going to go with stupid because I'm not around stupid people, but I am
But my
around
point
mean,
is, have you
mean,
noticed that
judgmental.
there are some people, like in every workplace I've been to, every, there's always one or two people, and I only train in for 25 years in corporations on site in their companies. So I'd have these groups of people, and I noticed in every group there'd be like one or two who were like, I kept thinking, how is this person still working here? I mean, I knew in 5 minutes they were like faking it.
Hmm.
They were asked questions like, well, how bad, or they'd repeat someone else's question. They were just fakers. You
Hmm.
know how you spot fakers right away.
Hmm.
No interest in pleasing them because anyone I wouldn't go to for advice, I'm not interested in them evaluating me. So pretty much I completely like those people, if they talk, I just see their mouths moving, but I don't listen. And the big thing in training is that my only goal is to keep the lower 20% from ruining it for the people who actually want to learn something.
I love that. I mean, I learned from you when we talked at the conference, and I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a personal question because you said that I could, and that is, how old were you when you realized you had ADHD?
Oh, oh, last year.
Oh, I don't know how old
So
you are.
I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I will tell you that I'm older than you think. And it was a complete shock because I went to the conference for my clients and I knew I had this task, this dyscalculia, but I had no idea. So it was a revelation and huge, and it really has given me a lot of peace. So, just as a side note, I've really worked on having a peaceful life. So, anything that upsets me, I go, okay, why did that upset me? How can I either prevent that trigger from happening again, or how can I not be upset by that trigger again?
Mhm.
And that has been really my primary my primary work. My hobby has been working on
Oh,
myself.
so
And I
I
have
can
a
see.
very, very calm life. So now when something upsets me, it's really noticeable. And then I do the same thing because I really don't like upset.
Right. Well, you are the poster child. I'm gonna take a pause, but I will say that you touched on it that that when you realize that you've lived your whole life with ADHD, but it was never discovered, there's the relief, like, oh, this makes so much sense now. And then there are people who will grieve what could have been. I know, see, and she, so if you're not seeing her, if you're listening, you're not seeing her. She just makes like a big shrug and it's like, yeah, okay, their problem, right? But I'm
Yeah.
gonna
No, no,
say.
no, no. I don't feel that way at all. I don't feel it's their problem. So this happened to, I joined, in my family is a bunch of compulsive, addictive people. Like in my family that I grew up in, when they were upset, they did not want to drink. They wanted ice cream. So it's alcoholics, except food is the thing. So,
Absolutely.
so an alcoholic could be manifested in food or gambling or smoking or any of the addictions. So I got it. My brother didn't. But anyway, so after years and years of going to I don't know, zillions of programs. I bumped into AA for food, and
Overeaters Anonymous, right?
yeah, that's it. And I don't recommend Overeaters Anonymous. I would recommend only AA because AA is what cures. OA, they never quite followed AA. But anyway, the point is that when I did that work, that was transformative. So if someone is dealing with any kind of addiction, if you come from an addictive family, just know it's inherited, and it's fixable with a lot of work. So the point is that I started to work on myself all along, and I forgot your original question.
That's okay. My question, what, hold on, I'm going to get to it. It was,
Oh,
oh,
oh, I
said
don't regret. Oh,
the
so
relief.
what I did was when I found out, like the first meeting that I went to the 12-step program, and I realized, oh my God, it's not that I'm incapable or a loser, or because, I lost weight successfully so many times and I couldn't believe I was gaining it back. I didn't know why. And I actually, I'd love to share the answer to that on this call. But I said, I cried because of all the years lost, but I also celebrated that I could live forward like this. And that you have to use self control because I can't change the past. But what I can do is look, I get to live the rest of my life knowing I have my brain doesn't work for food, for ADHD, for numbers and dates and spatial relationship. And that knowing I could live my rest of my life with freedom, I force myself to only think that thought. Because if you let your mean mind go with what it wants to go, which is, I can't believe it, look how many years I lost, that would just not be helpful. So that would be an example of forcing myself when I hear the beating up part to go, hey, this is wonderful. I just noticed I'm beating myself up. And I can immediately change channels and go, yeah, but look, I don't have to do that forevermore.
So I'm just going to tell you, like, and I've, done probably 100 interviews at this point, and you're definitely not the oldest person that I've interviewed, but I think that you are. I mean, you have just got such a great, that's why I couldn't wait to talk to you. You've got such a great perspective. So we're going to take a pause. And before we take the pause, I have something I have to share with you. And then
Yes,
I'm going to tell you what's going to come in the second part. So you're going to
yes.
share how you were able to conquer the food addiction, because one of the things that I want to say is that people with ADHD tend to either struggle, and I can't remember, I think the percentage is 30% have some sort of substance addiction, and that could be food. It could be nicotine, by the way, is a huge, it's like a Ritalin. And so that's why a lot of us who had grandparents that probably had ADHD, we didn't recognize it because they were smoking their Ritalin. And the sugar, because it gives us that dopamine. But I also,
Yeah.
something that
Uh-huh.
I've discovered is about 80% of us have a behavioral addiction, and mine is overworking.
Ah,
So it could be doom scrolling, it could be video gaming, it could be overworking. And I didn't recognize, even when I started this podcast, that I struggle with a behavioral addiction. So I just wanted to give that to you. So when you say it runs in a family, well, so does ADHD, right? And so I also, by the way, was an Al-Anon myself. I was codependent, and that's also very common for people with ADHD.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and then you would hear the people who were in families with alcohol, and I'm like, now going back, I wonder how many of them had ADHD in their family, and it was being masked by the alcohol. So before we go into the pause. When
Great.
we come back from the pause, you're going to talk about the how you were able to conquer the weight, because I've got some thoughts on that too. I'm also a lifetime Weight Watcher, and I wanted to kind of ask you the button question, which was, if you could not have ADHD, would you like not have it? Don't answer it because that's a pause. There was
Okay.
something else, and I'm sure it will come back to me because you know how our brains are. They just,
Sure.
whatever. Well,
No
okay.
worries.
So before we take the pause, and I don't know if you know this, Reesa, but this podcast doesn't pay me any bills. I do it because I love educating people, and because the other big question, I want to just say this is, people will ask me, why does it matter? Why does it matter to discover you have ADHD later in life? So yeah, I know. You see the eyes go up. Okay. So, having said that, this is a labor of love, and it is really just my intention to make people's lives better the way that my life has gotten better and my relationship with my mom has gotten better. I do have bills to pay. And so you will hear commercials that are inserted for my business, which is Silver Linings Transitions. And you may not even know this, Reesa, but I am actually the president of elect of the National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers. So people who are moving, it's a very daunting task. And especially for someone with ADHD or for seniors who are having to go through a museum of their lives and make decisions because we don't like decisions. We don't like big tasks. So you can actually go to NASM.org and you can find a move manager, a senior move manager in your area who's trained to really support older adults. And so that's the plug. And Silver Linings, we do that service in San Diego and in the Coachella Valley area. And then you'll learn a little bit about my ADHD coaching work and the Sparkler Society, which is actually, yes, so this is it. So when I was writing the first version of my book, which is This Explains So Much, I was just like, you've got to find community. And it was all of this advice and all of these things that people could do. And then it came to me like, wait a minute. I want to build a community, and the tagline is sort of like, let's get our shit together. And so it's really meant for women 45 and over who are navigating this new lens of, oh, so I have ADHD and I'm constantly doing this thing, or I'm constantly crafting and moving on to the next thing. So those are the commercials. And then lastly, I'm just going to ask you, if you're listening to this podcast, if you would please share it and like it, because that is how people find this. This is, by the way, my search grows continuously, organically. There's been no paid advertisement, and Apple hasn't picked it up yet. So it's really just, and I've been so blessed because it has gotten mentioned in a magazine. I've had some amazing people on, like industry experts and people like you, where I just get to learn so much. So we're going to take a pause. I'm going to take a sip of water and we're going to come right back, and you're going to answer the weight loss issue, because that's going to be huge for a lot of people. And then the why does it matter, and the button question. So we're going to take a pause. And then, of course, we'll let people know if they want to work with you, how they can find you. I used to dread visiting my mother. Because of the clutter, the piles, the chaos, we all experience clutter differently. For me, it was a source of anxiety and stress. I'd try to help and she'd get defensive. We were both frustrated, and it was destroying our relationship. Then we discovered something that changed everything. My mother had ADHD, and she'd been living with it undiagnosed for over 76 years. Suddenly, it all made sense. The clutter wasn't laziness. The disorganization wasn't a choice. Her brain was wired differently, and no amount of willpower or traditional organizing advice was ever going to work. That discovery became my life's work. It's why I started the Grandma Has ADHD podcast. It's why I became an ADHD coach and specialist. And it's why I am so passionate about helping women like my mother and maybe like you. Because here's what I know. Clutter affects us emotionally and physically. It damages relationships, it creates shame spirals, and the overwhelm of not knowing where to start keeps you frozen. But it's okay to ask for help. In fact, it's brave. If you're in the San Diego or Coachella Valley area, my team at Silver Linings Transitions can come to your home. We'll help you tackle the clutter with compassion, not judgment. I also work with women virtually through one-on-one ADHD coaching. And if you are overwhelmed with clutter, I can connect you with trusted resources in your area. Visit jamishapiro.me to get started, or grab my book, This Explains So Much, on Amazon. My mother and I got our relationship back. You can get your peace back too. That's JAMISHAPIRO.me. Moving can feel overwhelming, whether you're downsizing, relocating, or helping a loved one transition. There are so many decisions to make, details to handle, and emotions to navigate. At Silver Linings Transitions, we believe every move should be magical, not stressful. We're more than movers. We expertly guide you through the entire process and do our best to alleviate your concerns. From the moment we meet, you'll feel comfortable because we will listen to your needs and wants and work together to create a personalized plan that honors your memories and your cherished belongings while helping you embrace your next chapter. We visit your new space and create a detailed floor plan, ensuring your furniture and treasured belongings will fit safely. We handle the logistics so you don't need to worry about anything, from sorting and packing to coordinating the sale and donation of unwanted items. Our professional team uses efficient, eco-friendly bins and handles every detail with care. We coordinate with our vetted moving partners, oversee the logistics, and ensure nothing is left behind, even packing your refrigerator items. Here's where the magic happens. We don't just unpack, we recreate the feeling of home. Using photos from your previous space, we thoughtfully arrange your furniture, hang your pictures, and set up your kitchen and bathroom so everything feels familiar from day one. When you walk into your new space, it's not just moved in, it's home. Your coffee pot is ready, your favorite photos are perfectly placed, your bed is made, and your new chapter begins with comfort and joy instead of chaos. This is how Silver Linings Transitions makes moves magical. We handle the emotional lifting and the logistics so you can focus on what matters most, settling into your new home. Because every move deserves a silver lining. Hi, I'm Jami Shapiro. I am an ADHD coach and the founder of Silver Linings Transitions, where we do home organizing and move management. And, you know, I did not know that I had ADHD for years. And I remember personally hiring an organizing company to come in and help me because I could just never get it together. And it really wasn't until I understood ADHD and its impact that I realized why. And so I wrote a book, This Explains So Much, Understanding Undiagnosed ADHD, because I just feel like there's so many answers that people don't even know that they're looking for, especially generations of women who grew up thinking that ADHD was just for the hyperactive little boy. It turns out it's not only a body that can be hyperactive, but it can be a mind that's hyperactive. So you can have a wonderful day and you can have something wonderful happen, and then that one negative thing that happens is going to be the thing that takes you into that spiral, and it's going to be keeping you up at night, and you're going to be ruminating on it. And I think that, you know, we as women carry so much shame and so much how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to have it together. And I remember that was the case for me. I remember, how is it that all of these women have so much consistency and their kids get the sticker charts and everything seems to run well, and I'm the one that's missing parent-teacher conferences and my house, you know, is always in chaos. And then again, that negative self-talk. So my mission is really to educate people who have no idea that ADHD has the impact that it does. And it's to connect you to other people who get it and who will make you feel that you aren't alone, you're not crazy, you're not lazy, you're not stupid, you're not too much. You just have a brain that was wired differently. And I can't wait for you to join me in the community that I'm building, the workshops that I'm creating, the book club that I'm hosting, because I know that I am going to make a profound difference in your life. So we are back. We are back with Dr. Reesa Woolf. And in the break, for those of you who have heard me speak before, you know that we struggle with rejection sensitivity, which means that rejection hits us harder than the average person. But we also have something called rejection, recognition success euphoria. And so Reesa started to say something to me, and I said, hold that thought. You need to say that on camera because it's going to just make me feel really good. So go on.
I'd be delighted to. And what I said was, oh, oh, Jami, this is so enjoyable. I've been on so many podcasts, and about a third of them, they just talk about themselves and don't want to hear the guest at all. And you're actually asking, you're listening and asking the questions that your listeners want to know. And I'm quite enjoying this. And it's a delight for me to share what I've learned over the years.
Well, you really are one of those podcast guests that I love that I get to learn like one on one. Okay, so first we're gonna leave the weight loss one till the end because I have a feeling, especially us middle aged and older women, weight can be a big struggle for most of us, and everybody's looking for the panacea. That's why so many people are on the GLPs and all of that now. So I want to save that for last. I won't go on it because yeah, anyway, that's a side conversation. And I guess they're not going to sponsor my podcast when I do get sponsors. But so first answer the button question. If you now that you know you have ADHD, would you just get rid of it and not have had it or have it ever again?
The benefits of having ADHD is that we're remarkably creative and compassionate people. And because I'll speak for myself, I know that I'm unusually creative and compassionate. A lot of the compassion comes from the fact that I've been an outsider or have felt stuff. And so I go out of my way in a group to walk to the person who no one's talking to. Or it gives me like working right now. I only work with high level people who like corporate executive types who have public speaking fear, shockingly, after all these years. And I would say that every time I hang up, I'm gleeful. It's like it gives me such joy to do that, to be a catalyst in someone's life and know that their life is going to be better. And people say to me, hey, you know what? My public speaking's better. But I asked out this girl I've been wanting to ask out for a year. And I went, oh my God, I'm doing more. So when you fix that long-term social anxiety issue, a lot of things open up for people. So I don't know if I would change it or not. There's nothing particularly that I'm missing that I need. So I would say no. I think it's okay because my creativity and my kind of free spirit behavior
Mhm.
has made this life fabulous,
Yeah.
actually.
I love it. I love it. And do you remember at the conference, and I don't remember who the speaker was, but she did a presentation and she was showing like biceps on a man, and one bicep is like overly developed and huge. And I think it was like asynchronous or something. I can't remember what the word was. And then the other bicep was like really, really thin, and how you could be like for instance, a lot of people with ADHD might excel in academics, but they might struggle socially. Or so like to you, you are incredibly creative and obviously got a PhD, so you're bright. Obviously, you're not doing any math for a living, right? So yeah, and I do think we have that balance. So okay, so the next thing that I want to ask you, and it drives me crazy when people say, why does it matter? Why do you have to do this podcast for people, 45 and over who are discovering ADHD? Why do they need to know at this point? I know by the way, if you're listening, her eyes just got like, are you kidding me? So please, why does it matter?
Because once when I this is the big thing, is the day after I realized and learned all this ADHD stuff, the day after my first day back home, when I caught myself 8 different times thinking, oh, you're stupid, or you can't do it. What's wrong with you? And I went, no, no, no. Like, so all of that beat up was eliminated. That alone, that I didn't have, that my self esteem and my self image and my self respect was raised automatically. And even now, when I catch myself being angry, not angry, but disappointed or something, sometimes it's because I didn't do something, but frequently it's, oh no, that's an ADHD thing. That's why I can't do that well. And oh my gosh, the relief. I just really like to be happy. I have a very strong desire to be happy and to have a peaceful life. So the fact that contributed to my peaceful life and happiness, that goes it there's no price on that. It's just exhilarating. And also hearing from others and how are they coping with the stuff we can't do so well has been really helpful, because clearly I don't do so well on the stuff that I don't do so well. So to hear how others are doing it, for example, my life is very, very structured. I absolutely go to bed at a certain time and get up at a certain time. That was loosey goosey before. My food is extremely structured. I know I'm going to have a certain amount of protein and good things that I don't eat between meals. That's absolutely structured. I get up and my mornings are kind of peaceful. I listen to a book or a podcast or do something good for myself in the morning. And then I get to work and I work. And usually I get up very early. So usually like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I'm done. And then I have the whole evening free, which is just right for my value system. And so I've learned a lot of those things about structuring and forcing myself to do it. And the last thing I'll say is this: when my intuition or my gut feeling or I get this hunch, I know that that is my inner wisdom. And when I do what it says right away, my life is so much better. And when I don't do what it says, my mean mind just kind of says, well, I don't feel it, I don't want it, I can do it, like all that stuff. My life isn't as good. So kind of forcing myself to go, oh, good idea, and I do it right then and there. That has been, I would say, the biggest thing in the last 3 years, to realize, hey, that part of me knows better than me, and if I listen to it, my life is always way better. And to
Hmm.
see the evidence of that has been a big motivator. But I still live on both sides.
I love it. Okay, so answer the weight, how you've controlled the weight. And by the way, if you're not listen, if you're what most people listen, Reesa, but every once in a while we get a clip, and there are people who like to watch it on YouTube. But I asked Reesa the question, and she kind of rubs her hands together, like, "Ooh, let me give you the good stuff." I didn't
Mm-hmm.
describe it well, but go. Okay, I can't wait to hear what the solution is. I've battled my
Uh-huh.
whole life as well.
Okay, so with an alcoholic, everyone knows that when they drink, or most people know that when people drink alcohol, people who are alcoholics, if you look at any brain studies, an alcoholic's brain is different. It has alcohol, it has addiction in it. So
Mhm.
once I knew, oh, my brain has addiction, it made it a lot easier for me to accept, because I was not happy about the fact that my brain was addicted. And then when I kind of realized, oh, well, let's move on from there. So with an alcoholic, when they drink, two things happen. Their brain, something happens to their brain and they start craving. And
Mhm.
something happens to their body. The alcohol gets turned into sugar or whatever it is, but their body starts craving. And it's similar to, I know that when I have to go to the bathroom really bad, I can't think of anything else. I just have to go to the bathroom. And that's how an alcoholic feels when they're having that kind of craving.
Mhm.
They will step on your face to get to that alcohol. Addicts are exactly the same. So people who have been in Alcoholics Anonymous, when they stop drinking, they start overeating, or they start realizing they overeat because they're still self-medicating.
Yep.
When you do the 12 steps, by the way, you stop self-medicating. So it's worth doing the 12 step in AA. Don't go to anything else. But the point is that once I realized, oh, I see that. And so here's the answer to, I've lost weight successfully. I loved Weight Watchers. I loved Jenny Craig. I got to my goal weight on all of them. Why did I gain it back? So this is the big secret. I look at all foods, and I can put every food on earth, in three categories. One are my red light foods, red, yellow, green light. My red light foods are things that if I have them in my house, I might eat them well for 2 or 3 days. And then the third night at 9 o'clock, it's empty. I will sit with whatever the thing is, and a serving is when it's gone. And then I'll get
Edibles.
in my car in my pajamas and still buy more. So those are my red light foods. Guaranteed, I will binge on those. Then there are
Okay.
yellow light foods, which is sometimes I'll binge, sometimes I won't. So sometimes I buy them and sometimes I don't. Sometimes when I look at it in the store, I imagine eating the whole thing with a spoon, and I go, we're not buying that today. Like I
Mhm.
didn't buy tahini for about 4 years, until
Mm.
I looked at it one day and I went, no, I think I can manage it now. But if I overeat it, I don't buy it again. And then green light foods are everything that's green and fruits and vegetables that I'm not going to ever overeat on a carrot. So the trick is this, and it made me very unhappy, is I emptied my house of all my red light foods. And I do not buy red light foods because I'm powerless over them. Just like an alcoholic is, if you say to an alcoholic, oh, listen, I just came back from Europe, I bought this little sample for you, and I went out of my way to get it, I had to take 2 trains to do it, please, it's for you. The alcoholic can't have it because they know that one red light drink or one drink for them will cause them to be out of control again. And that's why I don't eat red light foods, because I no longer, this is really huge. I no longer have cravings. I no
Wow.
longer drive home at night going, I have to stop someplace and get something. I no
Wow.
longer on the way home go, oh, I think I'll stop at this fast food place. I know I don't. So it's a miracle. I can
That
tell you. And I can tell you, you heard my fabulous biography and how fabulous my life has been. But I'll tell you what I'm most proud of all the cool things that I've done, is that I'm proud that I have handled and I'm handling my addiction. It's the biggest thing I've ever done. And if I don't do that, everything else falls away. If I start eating again, it's the only priority I have in life. I'm an alcoholic, but with food.
wow.
So that's a big one. It's no red light foods, and be conscious about your yellow light foods. And also people who are married, when their spouse still has their red light foods, they will ask the spouse, they'll buy a lock and put a lock on the cabinet, because god damn it, when he or she is asleep, I'm going to go and eat their food until it's empty. So to thine own self be true. And it's
Hmm.
been I went to many, like a good 15 different programs over the years. And this is, once I realized, oh my God, I'm an addict, that changed everything.
That's great. Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. I think I'm gonna just give you a quick little one of my stories. I actually wrote about it in my book. My weakness is Breyer's mint chip ice cream. And and I even have a special way that I eat it, right? But what
Of
I wrote
course.
of course, what I wrote in the book is that I get to say no to it one time in the grocery store. But if
Okay.
I bring it home, then it's the same. Yeah,
Got it.
it's going to call my name. So, and if I wrote that in the books. I did want to
Yeah,
share
we're
that.
absolutely on the same page. And it's not negotiable. It's
Hmm.
not negotiable. I don't want to have that burden ever again. It is the only thing that keeps, and I still at 9 o'clock at night want to keep eating now. And I've been doing this for a long time. So I gave up sugar about 8 years ago, and that was really helpful because I
I
didn't
don't.
decide. And pretty much, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, but I actually work those 12 steps every single day of my life. It's the most important. It is the most important thing in my life, and I'm so glad that you went on a similar journey.
It's funny that you mentioned sugar because I have off and on given sugar up as well. And ultimately, I exercise, I do all of the things I'm supposed to do for the most part. And I will own that sugar is an addiction. I am limiting the sugar that I have now. And I'm also doing a lot more protein. So now I add protein to my coffee in the morning, which keeps me satisfied until, and I also know that there are times of day that I have better impulse control than others. And one of the things that I do, because decisions can be very difficult, and I don't want to have to make decisions around my food. So I make like a big batch of soup and then I freeze soup cubes. And then that is my very easy lunch. That's almost like a 0 point Weight Watcher food. And I didn't mean to take it down there, but I know that a lot of people that are
Yeah,
listening
yeah,
are going to
yeah,
identify with this conversation.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
I went 3 days last week without adding creamer to my coffee. And then I ultimately had to cave. I'm like, listen, it's like one of those things I just, anyway. Okay. So, us with ADHD, we go into one topic and then we want to go down the rabbit hole. I want to make sure that there isn't anything that you would like to share with our audience that I didn't get to ask you. So I see a head nod. Go ahead.
all right. So this is the most important thing because well, I've already told you that when people come to me for public speaking fear, I'm a TED Talk trainer. So actually I'm a massive expert in public speaking, but when I was a keynote speaker on stages, big like convention keynote speaker, I realized, I'm really good at this, but I can do something even more. And that is, I can make anyone in this room a keynote speaker. So that was my primary work. But then I realized, wait a second, when I actually cure public speaking fear, I don't teach you how to cope with it or deal with it. And once I started to do that, and they would get fixed, they would sometimes go back to their old thinking of I'm not okay, and all the other things. And you just have to really get yourself to notice, when am I thinking my old thoughts, and come back to, yes, but today I'm not that. Today, if that fourth grade teacher were in the classroom, we're in a meeting today, that I'm 35 or 45 years old, and she did that to me, what would I do? So this is, I'll tell you something, to be happy, you have to really work at it. In my experiences, I have to work at it. When I think of a new realization, like, oh, I just realized I'm blah, 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 I put that on a sticky and I put it in various places in my house. I put it on the dashboard of my car. I like to just inundate myself, immerse myself in what is accurate thinking, so that I can notice when the icky old wrong error thinking comes up, I can switch it over. It's a lot of work, but as I said, it's been my hobby for a lifetime, and it's completely worth it, because this is how it ends up.
I'm just like, I do a lot of interviews. I meet a lot of amazing people, but I have to just tell you, I am beaming. Our phone call is, I mean, you were like the poster child for, what I hope that someone who discovers that they have ADHD. And that was the last question that I wanted to ask you is, obviously you are a little more self-actualized than the average person, and you do have a really good handle on what you need and who you are and how, so I would say significant, like an A plus in the category of schooling. But,
Thank you.
when, a lot of people who are coming to this podcast are new to this conversation, and they are having, and I use my mom as the avatar because my mom and I had an estranged relationship the majority of our life. My mom happens to be very bright, but never finished college, even when she had opportunities for tuition reimbursement for her company, and the company that she absolutely hated would call it the golden handcuffs. And she was in her 40s. And at that point, I'm like an adult. Why aren't you going back to school, mom? I don't understand. And she would say, I can't concentrate. And of
Yeah, yeah.
course, I thought that was a her problem, right? And now I know that it was undiagnosed ADHD, her whole life. And we've made such a peace with our relationship that I mean, people who know us can't even believe that we have the relationship that we have. And it's genuine. I mean, I feel horrible because I was one of those people shaming my mom. So when I do this podcast, I often think of people like my mom, because there are people like you who went out and got your PhD, but there are people who really have struggled with it, and now there's an answer for it. So what would you say to them about how do they, because I end my podcast, by the way, with make the rest of your life the best of your life, and you are absolutely exemplifying that. What would you say to end this podcast?
I would say to choose one little thing that you're willing to look at. Like, we covered a whole bunch of topics today. If you're taking notes, look over your notes and go, if I could do only one of those things and make them better, which one am I willing to do? Which one would not annoy me? What would annoy me the least? Whatever that is, circle it and then work on that. Listen to Jami a lot, because clearly she knows stuff. And I would personally sign up with you as my coach. I respect you, and I'm pretty fussy. And the point is that if I have something that isn't working in my life and someone can help me fix it and my life will be better, man, I am on it. So don't listen to any person in your life. Don't ask the person you live with, should I do this? Because they don't have ADHD, and
They might.
they don't know how much you're suffering.
Mhm.
So I would say that, as far as, wanting to help other people with it, don't take any of this work for helping other people. Take it to help yourself, because then when you model how you've changed, people will go, what did you do? And then they are interested. But that's it. I would say work on one baby step at a time. That's all I did, really. And I've lived a long time. That's how I've done so many baby steps. So I would
Wow.
say that it's worth it. It's worth
Great.
it.
So if somebody wants to find you, maybe now do you only work with executives, or like who will you work with? Only
I
executives.
I have a lot of business owners and a lot of corporate executive types. Those are I would say, mostly, and of any industry. Remember, public speaking, Austin, because I live in Austin, Texas. So public speaking, Austin, even Austin public speaking. And if you look it over and it makes sense to you, then call me for, what I do is I talk to people and see if they're a fit. Sometimes I say to people, you do not need me, do this instead, or why don't you, do this instead. I get a lot of people who speak English as a second language, and because my grandparents were immigrants, I have a real mission for that. And because I was a student leader, and they said, oh, that's nice, honey, are you going to be a nurse or a teacher? You've heard those stories? Completely true. All of us student leaders were in speech therapy. It was just bizarre. Anyway, and so I kill with the public speaking for people who speak English as a second language. But the point is this: if you have public speaking fear, it is not in your DNA. It is curable. And I can give you advice on that. So that's my punchline.
I love it. Okay. Well, you have been an amazing guest. I'm so glad that I got to meet you.
Oh, yes.
And I have no doubt we'll be in each other's lives. There's just something about you, that
Oh,
energy.
yeah. I can easily refer people to you. You are real. You really know your stuff. Your heart is in the right place. And also, you get to the point. It's one of my favorite things in life. So thank you so much. This has been a delight to
Oh,
be on your podcast.
my pleasure. So I hope that if you are listening to this podcast, you might even want to check it out and see Reesa, because I, by the way, have no idea how old you are. I just know that you have white hair. I mean, and they say when you have ADHD, you tend to have an energy that is much younger. And I know I'm
Oh,
56 and I don't think that I look 56. I know she just dropped her jaw. And I have to tell you, my fiance is 9 years younger and he can't keep up with me. So thank you all for listening. Thank you so much, Dr. Reesa Woolf, for being so open with our guests. It's been a wonderful interview.
my pleasure, Jami.
The opinions expressed on Grandma Has ADHD podcast are those of our guests and hosts and are intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. This podcast does not provide medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The content discussed in this episode is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, mental health professional, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or mental health concern. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have heard on this podcast. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The host, guests, and producers of Grandma Has ADHD do not assume any liability for the content of this podcast. Listen at your own discretion.